Hello and welcome to another edition of E15. I am Ayodele Ozubakun. On our countdown today, the Independent National Electoral Commission has again extended the deadline for the collection of permanent voter cards by 2 weeks. The new deadline is now March 22nd. This extension offers the last opportunity for duly registered voters to collect their PVCs before the general elections scheduled for 28th of March and April the 11th. Still on elections, INEC has put the card reader technology to test in some states of the Federation. While the exercise was hitch-free in some states, there was questions raised in other states. Meanwhile, there is cheering news in Nigerian military ongoing operations against Boko Haram. The Nigerian army has announced that its troops have recaptured Bunin-Yadi and Buningiri town, both in Yobe State. These are the issues on our radar on E15 today. I'll take this break. When I return, we'll meet my guests. Don't go away.
State legislators in Nigeria say they are keen to contribute to the realization of a true...
Even if President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan gave the IG of police such instruction, he had a right to say to Mr. President, like the French...
He had to drop out of school after he lost his while calling for the return to the 2009 agreement of all charges, the politicians have declared that they will resist.
According to
My name is Oba Adeoye, and this is the big issue.
It's not just a debate, it's a controversy of issues that affect you.
What it means, and that is why we have a problem in this country, they always create an avenue for the richer to keep on being rich, and the poor will keep on being poorer.
In the Igbo culture back then, and even right now, if your husband dies, they cut your hair, they bathe you with the dead man's water. Women are crying. Women have been crying, but there's been no voice.
Come be part of the audience for the recording of the show, The Big Issue. Date. Venue, TVC Studios, number 1 Continental Way, off CMD Road, Ikosi Ketu, Lagos. For seat reservations, please indicate your interest on facebook.com/TVC Big Issue. Send an SMS or call 070-30343-640 or 070-4355-4356. Be part of the big issue, more than just a debate.
Welcome back. It's 19 days to the 2015 Presidential and National Assembly election. Ashoma Moimodu is in the house.
Always a pleasure to be here. Good evening, viewers.
You are counting down?
Sure.
We're all counting down. The General.
Yes, good evening.
Dipo Layokun.
Yes, good evening. Welcome once again.
Babajide Kolade Otitoju.
Good evening.
How are we counting down?
Yes.
19 days again.
We can't wait. I want this election to happen so that we can get it out of our system.
And get back
And
to
first on your birthday.
Now we can now return to our normal
lives.
And Jide is looking for a birthday gift for that day.
Yes.
It's the 28th of
It is my
March.
wish, it is my prayer
That the thing holds on that day.
by the events of March 28th, my birthday
Go down in history.
will begin to compete with June 12th in terms of popularity.
Historical day.
Yes.
March 28th, very, very crucial. Let's take a listen to this report by Joke Adisa from our Abuja Bureau.
Among the many controversies trailing the permanent voter cards has been its low rate of distribution. But for the new date INEC announced as deadline for the collection of PVCs, the exercise will by now have come to a close. This is a usual scene at a typical PVC collection center in the nation's capital. Tempers of residents out to collect their cards are normally on the rise as a result of perceived inefficiency on the part of INEC staff issuing the cards. And although the queues have reasonably thinned down compared to what they used to be before the shift in the election dates, the people here still complain of long hours of waiting.
The whole thing is hectic. Some of us have been here before and here are we today. And if you, just from the time you came till now, I'm sure you've not seen anybody collected his card. And when you make it that slow, it becomes another problem entirely.
For some hours now, we have been here in this queue trying to collect our permanent voters card. Yet, nothing is done.
They say the additional 2 weeks give them hope that they will eventually get their voter cards before the elections.
It's a very good thing that it's postponed. Now people like us have hope to collect our voters card.
And one thing I have wondered till now is that general public holiday they never declared for this thing. Some states did theirs, but I had wished it was done throughout the Federation.
With the extension, the commission staff are hoping that some of the challenges they face will reduce.
Some will fill this form simply because they lost their TVC. When they fill the form, they are supposed to tell us exactly where they register. That way we'll be able to trace their code. But some again, the name they put on the form is different from the one they put on the TVC. And you know this thing is alphabetically arranged in the printout and even in the cards. So by the time you go to Abdullahi Ilyasu, you will not see any Abdullahi Ilyasu in the register.
Worse still, there are those whose cards cannot be traced, even where it is confirmed that they were duly registered. After many visits to their registration units, Rebecca Inyoda, Mike Habu, and Obina Joans are frustrated. They worry that they are already being disenfranchised since their PVCs can't be traced, but this INEC official seems to have answers to their worries.
When we have cases like this, we have an incident from that we feel. So we have written her name and her phone number, which we have submitted to the office. Once they print the card, we put a call to her to come and pick up her card. And we are hoping to give her card before elections.
While these people may be unlucky to have their cards, it is a different ball game for some others who spent less than 2 minutes to have their permanent voter cards. With Saturday's test of the card readers, the election management body may have put to rest controversies surrounding the efficacy of the smart card readers. It now depends on how quickly PVCs can be distributed, especially in states now identified to still be lagging behind. In a telephone chat with TVC News, the Chief Press Secretary to INEC Chairman Kaode Idowu says the Commission took delivery of some of the pending voter cards last week.
That's a report from Joke Adisa, Abuja correspondent, giving us a kind of update on the PVC extension and the test run that was done on Saturday. Eshomoma, to you, how would you react to the INEC decision to extend the deadline for the PVC distribution?
I always said it here that INEC was definitely going to shift it because we knew that the March 8th initial date given was unrealistic. And for me, why INEC would shift it, as at that time we said it was because INEC wanted to paint a picture that they're doing Nigerians a favor because they keep on holding to this fact that people are not coming out to collect the PVC, whereas the reality on the ground is that people are coming out, but INEC officials are not there. Now, even if you shift this, if there's a space that you shift it for another 3 months, it will still remain the same thing. The reason is because so long as INEC refuses to change its strategy of giving out these permanent voter cards, nothing will change. If INEC kept on insisting that people will come to their offices to collect it, it won't change it. In Lagos, when the initial extension was granted, what they did in Lagos was they asked people, come to the polling units. They moved away from the wards and went to the polling unit that is closer to the people and started giving it out to them. But since that time, INEC had gone back to their offices. You come back to the local government to pick the PVC. These local government are too far from the people. Imagine somebody living in the interior. How long is it going to take that person to get to the local government? So why won't INEC? We're going to vote at the polling units. So if we're going to vote at the polling unit, why not take the card to the polling unit and give it to the people? So long as INEC refuses to change the strategy, the 2-week extension, at the end of the 2 weeks, 22nd of March, you realize that nothing will change because you can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result.
General, who's really to blame, INEC or the people?
We blame the Nigerian structure because right from the onset, we said it that the approach employed by INEC was faulty. And you cannot blame INEC because they are operating within the Nigerian structure. But let me say this from the beginning. By that March 22nd, I am very sure that not all registered voters will have collected their PVC. It's not a cause. It is because we have been in this country for a very long time. And we know that it's like at times you ask yourself, is this country jinxed? Like Eshomomo said, when it became obvious that the PVC issue was like a keg of compounder, and everybody was shouting, to the extent that the NSA went to Chatham and said, this thing will be postponed. INEC hurriedly, like Eshomomo said, pushed these voters' PVCs to the polling units, which should have been the original idea right from the beginning. And let me tell you one thing, if you look at the local government secretariat to where people are living, it's almost impossible for everybody to go to local government secretariat. It's impossible. And when INEC was distributing at the polling units, because it made it easier for the people, these people in the first instance registered at these polling units. So it will require a lot of patriotism for people to begin to say, oh, I want to go to local government secretary because I want to collect my PVC. An average Nigerian will tell you what is in it for me. So that is why INEC got it wrong from the beginning. But again, let us look at the INEC angle. Because I listened to INEC. INEC said to employ staff that will cover all these polling units, that it requires a lot of money, which they don't have.
Over 120,000
that even units. The one they have done within 2-3 weeks, it's telling heavily on their purse. That is another issue. But we expected that INEC ought to have computed all these things into their budget, so that because no matter no matter the amount INEC asked for at the beginning of elections, I don't think Nigerians would have raised any eyebrow. The other time, in 2011, when they hurriedly asked for 97 billion naira, Nigerians were the ones shouting, God, the government gave them because of the exercise. I think, again, we should not lose sight of what that lady said. Maybe it's a form of illiteracy. Many people, to some extent, are giving these INEC officials problem. We should appreciate that as well. When somebody registers with Abubakar Ilyasu, and he comes to write Ilyasu Abubakar, like we observed before we went when we said, probably if they had used computer, that would have brought out the name, whether it's Ilyasu Abubakar or Abubakar Ilyasu. But I think there's a need for us to...
Let me quickly go to Jide now. In the southeast, it's suspected that there are complaints that a lot of PVCs yet to be picked up actually meant for other wards, you know, that close to, I think, 450,000.
No, I'm not sure about the figure. The figure. But I know that in Ogun State, the REC announced last week that they were yet to, that the INEC headquarters was yet to send more than 400,000 PVCs meant for the state to them at the INEC office in Ogun State, meaning that the fault is not that of the people. If the INEC headquarters in Abuja refuses to send or has not sent 400,000 plus PVCs meant for Ogun State to Ogun State, there is no miracle by which those people, the people concerned, will take part in the elections, except those PVCs are sent to Ogun State anytime from now. So it's part of the problem. INEC enjoys, you know, labeling Nigerians as people unwilling to pick up PVCs. It carefully glosses over its own inadequacies, its own problems. Maybe even as we speak, some of those PVCs have not been printed. We wouldn't know, because on this program, we called Kaude Idowu, and Kaude Idowu lied to us that all the PVCs meant for this election were already in Nigeria.
I even asked him about the 1 million PVCs.
Only for his boss. I'm talking about an earlier time when we called him.
Yes.
Only for his boss to go before the Senate.
Unadmitted.
and admitted that 1 million PVCs were still outside of Nigeria. So this is the problem. Well, this 1 million that we are talking about, there are people who naturally would want to take part in these elections, but they are unfortunate that their own PVCs are among the ones yet to be brought to Nigeria. So there's no magic by which those ones can take part. As we speak now, because INEC has also not demonstrated what we call full disclosure. Some of what is happening, we do not yet know. So you cannot even say what exactly is the problem. And going to the specific question that you asked, the reality is, in the East and in some parts of Nigeria, people go to polling units to which they've been directed. But they will find heaps of PVCs, but their own PVCs will not be there. So it's possible that those PVCs were meant for people elsewhere. The same way that PVCs meant for Edo State were brought to Ogun State. So the people who own them in Edo State will be agonizing. They will be lining up in the sun.
That they don't have.
That they're asking for PVCs. They can't get. Their PVCs are in Ogun State. The kind of inefficiency that allows this kind of situation to happen must be roundly condemned by Nigerians, because there's no way we can build a good nation, an efficient nation, a nation that works, where our institutions, continue to be known for antiquated practices. Because that's the way I describe what is happening. The whole world, as I like to say on this program, is leaving Nigeria behind. If countries in Africa that used to see us as the big brother are today organizing free, fair, and well-conducted elections.
Voting.
Yes. So we have no excuse,
really. We are disputing over Kadrila.
We have no excuse, really. And we are not even telling the people the truth. Because we called them and said, what happened in Ogun State? The governor came out.
Yes, Jide, I was about to tell you that Kazim Olowe is on the line. Okay. We told you a few weeks back the situation in Ogun State. Ogun State recorded the lowest return rate for the collection of this permanent voter card. We want to see if that situation has improved. And Kazim Olowe, our correspondent in Ogun State, is standing by. Kazim.
Hello, how are you?
How are you, Kazim?
I'm fine.
Please give us an update. What has changed in Ogun State? The collection of PVC.